Hey guys, Zane here. I got a question for you. How many servings of vegetables do you eat in a day? Do you eat your veggies? Well, how many servings do you eat? How many do you have a goal? Is that something you have something you're shooting for? Why do you think that's important? Why do you think it's important to eat your vegetables? I mean, your mom always told you to, right? Your grandmother may have told you to as well, because her mom told her, eat your veggies. We've heard it for decades, right? Why is that so important? Well, I'm going to tell you something you may not have considered. Have you heard of what's called the FB ratio? It's a ratio of bacteria in and on your body. We're outnumbered by bacteria, microbes, fungi in our bodies. There's probably 40, 50 billion of them in and around our bodies. We have maybe 30 billion human cells. So technically our cells to the bacteria, we're outnumbered. And there's different populations of these bacteria living in our bodies. And they found that certain populations of these bacteria are indicative or associated with better health, being leaner, fewer of the lifestyle diseases that we all kind of want to avoid. And a certain population is associated with weight gain, obesity, diabetes, and some of these other lifestyle diseases. So there's these two different bacteria that make up about 90% of the population living in our bodies, can be divided into two groups: the Bacteroidetes, which is the B in the FB ratio, and Firmicutes, obviously the F. So the Firmicutes tend to be associated with the weight gain, obesity, inflammation, diabetes, so all the things that lead to disease, like heart disease, cancer, so forth. Bacteroidetes tend to be associated with leaner populations, people who don't absorb as much energy or store as much fat from their meals. And they discovered this in a Harvard study. It's actually a Harvard study looking at populations of kids, one population in rural Africa, so the countryside of Africa, the other in European city kids, okay? Kids living in European cities. You can imagine the difference there in how they were built, their food that they ate. Kids in rural Africa had a lot more vegetation in their diets. They had a lot more vegetable fiber. And so they had a much higher population of the Bacteroidetes, the healthier bacteria. The kids living in the cities of Europe had a lot more starch in their diet. So they had a lot more of the Firmicutes population in their gut and in and around their bodies. And so they had a lot more of those kind of issues that we know, the inflammation, maybe struggling with some weight gain, some insulin resistance. So the study made it pretty clear. We want to have more Bacteroidetes than Firmicutes. We want that FB ratio to slant more towards Bacteroidetes, and that comes from eating a lot of veggies. A lot of veggies, because those bacteria we want, as I said, live on and love vegetable fiber, and they actually process a lot of the vitamins and minerals out of those vegetables for us to absorb. That's how we're able to absorb them. We actually absorb them better with a higher population of those Bacteroidetes, because they can assimilate that plant fiber much better than we can. We can't digest plant fiber, right? So we got to break it down to get to those minerals and vitamins. Well, that's what they do for us in our gut. So we want a lot more of them. We get more of our nutrition that we want, and we end up storing a lot less fat. Plus, there's a lot less of that kind of energy in that food. If you're familiar with the food pyramid, right? The traditional U.S. food pyramid, right? So the base is where you want to be most of your food coming from, and the top, as it gets smaller as you go to the top. Well, the base of that pyramid is what? Grains, breads, cereals, starches, basically, right? If you look at the low carb or keto pyramid, what's the base of that one? Have you seen that? Have you seen that new pyramid? It's been out maybe 5 years or so. So the base of the keto pyramid is vegetables. It's all vegetables. It's not meat, okay? It's not butter. That's the next one up, okay? So those are important. Base, where most of your food comes from, not your energy necessarily, but your food, what you eat most of, vegetables. The starch grain section is the very top, the smallest. Use sparingly, okay? Completely opposite of the US pyramid. So you can see how that's probably, the US pyramid's had quite a negative effect on us since the 1970s. So what do we want to do? Well, in my Food Comes First Weight Loss Academy, I encourage everyone, make it a goal to eat 5 servings of veggies a day. That sounds like a lot, right? It is, but for a good reason, because we want to feed those healthy bacteria and we want to replace that, starch with fibrous, nutritious food. So 5 servings, what does that look like? Well, if you're talking about steamed veggies, like some steamed broccoli, asparagus, maybe some sauteed Brussels sprouts and coconut oil, it's one of my favorites. We're talking about maybe half a cup is a serving, so not a lot. If you're talking about leafy vegetables, like for salads, like romaines and green leaf and spinach, leafy spinach, you're talking about a cup. So half a cup of cooked, 1 cup of leafy, 5 times a day. So you might have 2 or 3, and if you're only eating, like I try to encourage everyone, 3 meals a day, tops, no snacking in between. Maybe they have, if they're intermittent fasting, maybe they do 2 meals, possibly a small snack in between those 2 meals, but 2 or 3 meals in a day, you're eating 2 or 3 servings of vegetables at a meal, along with your moderate amount of protein, your fats in there, okay, very little hard carbohydrate. So 2 or 3 servings of veggies at a meal. So a salad, maybe a cup of steamed veggies, there's 3 servings right there. So it's not impossible to do at all. It just might be a change of habits. And so it's really just, that's what we focus on. It's changing habits, getting more vegetables into the diet to replace some of the things we eat that we want to help fill us up. You throw some butter on those veggies, some olive oil in that salad, you've got some good nutritious fats to help you feel satisfied. It's good stuff. It's good stuff, and it works because people are losing weight. So if you have any questions about that or about the Food Comes First Weight Loss Academy, feel free to post them in the comments below. I actually have a group called Food Comes First here on Facebook that you can join if you want. It's a free group. I post some videos in there, keep information flowing, as well as testimonials from the members who are doing the 30-day Weight Loss Academy. So if you have any curiosity about that, want some more information about it, feel free to post in the comments below. But it's a great little group, good community, takes care of itself. Like we feed each other, right? But it's you'll get a lot of information just from that free group about what we do in the academy that is helping these people lose 10 or 15 pounds in a 30-day period. And because they like the way they're eating, they make it part of their lifestyle and they keep going. And I'm getting messages from people that they're down 20, 25 pounds after the group's over because they kept going. So it's great stuff. Again, comment below and I'll send you some information. Talk to you later.